It's 7:10. A man from Reading raising thousands of pounds to help Nigerian sex trafficking victims in Dubai return home with me in the studio next. This is Angus. Angus is on holiday in Dubai with his wife when he got chatting to a woman at a cafe, and she told him she'd been promised a job in sales. When she got there, she was forced to work as a prostitute. Angus is with me, and we should say that some of what you're about to hear you may well find distressing listening, especially at this time of day. Morning, Angus.
Morning.
So, you're just chatting, you're away, you're on a trip. A month ago, as I understand it, this was not a sort of predominant theme in your life. But having heard some of the stories of people who've been trafficked to Dubai where you were on holiday, you've decided to try and do something about it. Tell me a bit more about that chat.
Yeah, so my wife and I were in Dubai for New Year's Eve. And on New Year's Eve, I was sitting outside having a coffee outside our hotel. And there were lots of people walking around in their finery, obviously on their way to parties. And I left the hotel to go to the supermarket just to buy a bar of chocolate. And I passed a group of girls, and I just said to them, "You look amazing, girls." And I walked up the street, and then one of them immediately jumped up and kind of ran after me. And she put her hands on my arm, and she propositioned me, and I obviously said no, thank you. But anyway, she followed me around the supermarket, and I asked her, are you here of your own volition? And she said no. So I said to her, "Do you want to go home?" And she was very reluctant to say yes, but it worked out that she did want to go home. And so I said, "Well, if you're still, keen tomorrow," because I was sort of slightly suspicious. "If you're keen tomorrow, drop me a text and I'll meet up with you before I go home, because I'm flying home at 12 o'clock.
So your brain must have been going 100 miles an hour, because this is a lot of stages to go through from I'm just going out to, now I'm in a conversation with a woman and now she's in difficulty, and what is she trying to scam me? What's going on here? All of that. Must have been a right old thing to process.
Absolutely. But when I met her the next day, I knew that she was completely genuine, but she was she's in a very difficult predicament, because basically she'd been brainwashed into believing that she owed a £10,000 debt. And of course, the traffickers have no investment in these women, because they steal credit cards to bring them over. So once they're in Dubai, they're told they have to earn £10,000, which effectively is being raped 200 times before they can go home. But also the fact that she was trafficked locally by friends of friends back in Edo State, there would be a lot of shame in going home. As far as her friends were concerned, she was living the high life in Dubai, and if you look at her social media feed, there's the odd post of glamorous bars and glamorous hotels, hiding the truth of the fact that she didn't get that sales job in Dubai. She's actually working as a bonded slave in an apartment full of 16 other women who have been put in the same situation.
Right. You must have been shocked, right? Because we all know this sort of thing happens, but meeting a human being at the centre of it is different.
Certainly changes your perspective on life. And, obviously we've all got mothers, and, the brutality of her situation, the punishments that were meted out. She was beaten. If they don't earn enough money, they have chili paste smeared into their vaginas, and this is administered by a woman. That's another shocking part of this. But we've all got, some of us got sisters and daughters, and I just felt this real connection to it was a very genuine case that she presented to me, and I felt utterly compelled to go back. Now I know the other 3 apartments, their addresses. I've spoken to some of the girls. I know one of the senior girls there, and I feel utterly compelled to go back. So.
Right. And none of us are going to be able to turn the tide of this kind of thing, because it happens the world over. It probably always will. That's the grim truth, isn't it? Yeah. On the other hand, you now have a connection with a particular venue in Dubai, a place that you've been, you've met some of the people. What do you plan to do?
So what we've done is we've started a fundraising campaign at www.sendthemhome.co.uk, and we've been crowdfunding to enable me to go back and repatriate those women that want to be repatriated. Some of them are very deeply involved in the juju ceremony that binds them in a pair of sort of spiritual handcuffs. So the ones that want to come back, we will bring back. Secondly, we want to reintegrate them once they get back home. And thirdly, we want to help Idia Renaissance, that's an NGO charity, who are educating not only the women, but also the parents about the dangers of accepting these jobs, because a lot of the girls are getting jobs that look like sales jobs, but a lot of the parents are also trafficking their own children. And there's something in Nigerian culture about having a daughter working abroad. There's something, as I understand it, about having a beautiful daughter that can then go abroad, work in the sex trade, and then send money home. But it never happens because these people are ruthless, and these girls are totally expendable.
Are you still in touch with the individuals that you met?
Yes. So the two girls that have been brought home, it's been the most life-affirming experience I think I've ever had. I mean, the first girl, we had a 4-day fraught hide-and-seek game in Dubai before she got home. She went home to her auntie. She's now living in Benin City, and we've paid for her to start an apprenticeship as a seamstress, and this week she made her first dress. I mean, it was quite extraordinary, really.
So, I mean, there's an awful lot that's rewarding about what you've done so far and what you're doing.
This is utterly life-changing.
But is there any part of you that thinks, I wish I hadn't got involved in all this, because frankly life was busy enough?
Not at all.
Really?
Not at all. I personally can't solve this problem on my own, but all I need to do is help one person, and that's all that can be asked. So we need to give our charity where we feel connected and where we can make a difference. And it doesn't really take an awful lot to make a difference. The GoFundMe campaign at sendthemhome.co.uk, we've arranged enough money to bring the girls home from the apartments that I know about, and then hopefully I can draw somewhat of a line, but I do want to become involved in this long term.
Keep us in touch. Thank you. Nice to meet you. Thanks
you
for
very
coming
much.
in. Angus Thomas. And whether you've had any kind of experience, any kind of brush with this sort of world, even if you haven't then got as involved as Angus, but if it's a discussion you want to carry on this morning, 0808 100 5100.
BBC Radio Berkshire.
With Travel You Trust.